Valve has a new Steam Deck commercial that looks like it could be used for some digital or TV marketing campaign. Some people seem to be taking it as a response to the ROG Ally, and I'm not sure, but I'd like to know what you think. Also, Steam unveils a new feature. There's a new and unexpected hardware mod that will be going on sale soon. Valve is getting sued again, and developers continue to cater to the Steam Deck, but this time it's not quite what I expected. There's a lot of Steam Deck news to get into, and I can't wait to tell you all about it, but let me do a game giveaway early in the video here. Just scan the QR code or go to the bit.ly on screen. Some people have asked, so I'm going to clarify that these keys can only be redeemed once, so they're only going to last a few minutes at best, but I figure this is better than letting these keys linger unused. Some of the keys from today were donated by Emilio, Davin, and Ryan, so a big thanks to them for donating keys. If you want to donate some keys for a giveaway, just follow the link for instructions on how to do that. And if you like what I'm doing every week with these Deck News Roundups, make sure to leave a like for the algorithm so that it picks this up and spreads it to more people. And before we jump into this week's Steam Deck news, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Micro Center. I've said it before, but Micro Center is my happy place. The biggest deal that they're offering this month is a $15 coupon. That deal is for any in-store purchase of $100 or more, and there are absolutely no restrictions on what you can spend it on. I'm thinking of using it to upgrade my Wi-Fi mesh system because I could use some better Wi-Fi in this house. Additionally, they're offering a $25 coupon with no minimum if you submit your desktop build with a picture to their build showcase. If you have an awesome desktop in your house, there's basically no reason not to submit because you can get this coupon and there's no minimum and no strings attached. And if you don't have a desktop or you've been waiting to upgrade your stuff at home, now might be the perfect time to look into it because Micro Center is offering some big deals this month, including deals on desktop PCs, like this one here that is $800 off. And don't forget, Micro Center is opening new stores soon. The first new store is in Indianapolis, and you can sign up and visit the store to get a 128GB flash drive for free. So follow the links in the description to take advantage of these great deals at Micro Center. Thank you, Micro Center, for sponsoring this video. What's good, Deck Gang? Let's kick things off with another bundle. Actually, two of them this time. First is the Luck of the Draw bundle from Humble. This is a collection of 7 roguelike deck builders for $20. And I actually have a lot of experience with 3 of these games. Fights in Tight Spaces, Luck Be a Landlord, and Dicey Dungeons are all really good roguelike deck builders, especially on the Steam Deck. I like Luck Be a Landlord for the way it kind of flips the deck building mechanic because you're building a deck of items that can show up in a slot machine. I figured out a common game-breaking build within a few hours, but that's kind of part of the fun, isn't it? All of these games have over 80% positive reception, and in fact, 6 of the 7 have 90% positive reception on Steam. So if you're interested in the genre at all, this bundle is a no-brainer. Fanatical also has a really good bundle this time around. It's the Play As You Go bundle, and as the name implies, it is specifically catered to the Steam Deck and PC handhelds. You can choose 5 games from this list for $14.99, and that's quite the bargain considering the list of titles that are included. There are a few must-own games, including Patch Quest, Doom 2016, Haven Park, Amid Evil, and Wild Guns. I've been eyeing quite a few games on this list, so much so that I almost bought the bundle twice. I have links to both of these bundles in the description, and hopefully you didn't miss the keys that I gave away in the intro to this video, but let me know what you end up picking up. Alright, let's talk about the Steam Deck ad that Valve put together. It's up on Valve's YouTube and it's a tight 30-second placement. It highlights some quotes from reputable outlets like Linus Tech Tips and Tech Radar. I guess that explains why they didn't include any of my praise for the Steam Deck. Naturally, this ad showcases its portability as well as the impressive catalog that can be played given its portability. Games that were showcased include Stray, Uncharted 4, No Man's Sky, and Elden Ring. As a matter of fact, a lot of the games that were on display here are games that you can often see in the list of top played games on the Steam Deck every single month. The description of the video on YouTube reads, Steam Deck is a high-powered handheld gaming PC that can run the latest AAA games with ease. Order yours now, and then they have the URL for the store. I think it's telling that they mentioned the latest AAA games, as I think it shows that Valve continues to want the Steam Deck to be seen as a machine that can in fact play the latest AAA games despite the fact that it has had some hurdles with just a handful of recent releases. As a reminder, the games that can't be played on the Steam Deck is actually a big marketing point for the Ally, especially considering the name Ally comes from the slogan, plays all your games. What I find interesting though is that people saw this as a response to the ROG Ally. Check out this comment from friend of the channel, Mobile Decay, who said, "This is about the ROG Ally, isn't it?" Certainly the timing is conspicuous considering that Valve is notorious for never marketing their products, as you can see in this comment left by Winconer. And here they are with a marketing video sort of smack dab in the middle of Ally's marketing efforts. Do you see this as a shot across the bow at Ally? And if so, do you think it stands in contrast to the Valve tweet from the week prior? Back on May 11th, the day of the Ally event, OnDeck tweeted this: "Congratulations to ASUS ROG on the announcement of the ROG Ally. We're excited to see the PC handheld ecosystem continue to grow and for players to have more ways to play their games on the go." Personally, I think Valve welcomes competition, but is also sometimes fueled by that competition. Of course, I'm using competition loosely here as I see the Ally and Steam Deck very much coexisting. In any case, in a recent video from Gardner Bryant, he makes the case that Valve was relatively dormant in the few years before Epic launched their own game store, and that likewise something like the Ally can really push Valve into working even harder, and maybe this ad is a sign of that. What do you think, and do you expect to see this ad on TV or on YouTube or on other social media campaigns? In other news, Valve debuted a new feature on Steam recently with game trials. I first saw this news on Gaming on Linux, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized this was not actually a new feature. I'll explain in a moment, but here we're seeing a 90-minute trial for Dead Space, which is the only game with a game trial on Steam so far, but presumably we'll see more games take advantage of this feature. This trial leaves the entire game open to you, but only for a maximum of 1 hour and 30 minutes, and then you would have to buy the game. Naturally, you'll be able to pick up where you left off if you do buy the game. They also paired this with a sale for the game, so now might actually be a good time to check it out if you haven't so far. But I was a little confused because I swore Steam had game trials already, and I couldn't remember why I thought that. Then it struck me. EA Play. If you're subscribed to EA Play, they often have these 10-hour game trials for their newest games. Maybe EA saw the data for these game trials, sees that it's working, and then they decided to bring more limited game trials to Steam in general with Valve's help. I do hope to see more games use this, even if just to see how a game plays on the Steam Deck. I think it's a sensible approach. Next up, let me tell you about a Steam Deck mod that I was not expecting at all. Last week I told you about a Twitter user, Balika011, that modded their Steam Deck to have a 1200p display, and I kinda questioned whether or not it was even real, especially considering they didn't give very much information about this screen. Well, it turns out it is real and it will be for sale, as I found out based on this tweet from DeckHD on Twitter. I have some reservations about this mod, but let's talk about the details first. DeckHD.com is the website you can go to in order to find out more about this display. They have a section that compares their display to that of the Steam Deck, and you can see that their display is 1920 by 1200 compared to the Steam Deck's 1280 by 800. They're both 400 nit, 60 Hz, 7-inch IPSs, but the DeckHD has incredible sRGB coverage at 95% compared to the Steam Deck's 67%. The range of color on the Steam Deck has been one of the more common complaints about the Deck's display, and having a screen that improves that may be an interesting upgrade indeed. The price is $99, which I wouldn't call cheap, but it does seem reasonable and even matches the price of the replacement display that can sometimes be found on iFixit. While my curiosity is certainly piqued and I'd like to give this a try for tinkering purposes, I do have a number of reservations that you can probably predict. First and foremost, this is a difficult mod. That is quite the ask in and of itself, but then you have to consider what you get for it. I think 800p is a great resolution for the Steam Deck. The number of games that you're going to want to play at 1200p is rather limited, but at least I do believe that it scales from 800p to 1200p nicely. I do wonder if there's an additional power draw for this increase in resolution, but that's something where we're just going to have to wait and see. Still, like I said, I certainly have a technical curiosity, and if it turns out that I'm capable of making this mod, then it's probably something I would cover on this channel. If you're interested, sign up for their waitlist, and please do let me know in the comments, do you plan on picking one of these up? While we're talking about new products for the Steam Deck, JSAUX recently teased their upcoming Omnicase 2 Pro. You can pre-order it soon with an early bird 40% off, though it looks like they only have 100 pieces at that early bird price. In any case, they're touting this as an all-in-one docking station and accessory carrier. It does have a pretty slim profile, 12 ports including dual HDMI, a display port, and slots for SD and microSD cards. It also opens up to store some of those SD cards and cables, and it comes with a Steam Deck stand and a laptop stand. So I don't know, I kind of see this as a nice solution for someone that wants to use the same dock for everything, for a laptop to dock at your desk, as well as for the Steam Deck to dock at your TV, and not to mention to travel with so that you can dock either of those things when you're on the road. I'll leave a link to that below so you can check it out for yourself. On that note, it seems like JSAUX is still having a sale on their site, so if you were waiting to pick up some accessories, this may be a good time to check the page. So this next story is a funny one because last week I praised developers for supporting the Steam Deck specifically, so I didn't expect that this week I would be expressing disapproval at a developer for seemingly doing just that. As reported by Steam Deck HQ, developer Munfish removed all graphical options from their game Atomic Heart for players that were playing this game on the Steam Deck. Their initial response to the feedback wasn't what I expected either. Here's what they said, quote, "We hear all your feedback. Removing the graphic settings in Atomic Heart on Steam Deck was a hard decision for us to make in order to maximize performance, Steam Deck battery, and gameplay stability. Our main goal here is to provide the best game performance on every platform," end quote. Of course, I absolutely want developers to set a standard that would maximize performance, battery, and gameplay stability, but being the PC, I would not expect the developer to remove all other options entirely. Thankfully, they swiftly provided another update saying, quote, "Our team, striving to provide all players with the best experience, continued looking for ways to maximize Atomic Heart performance and is glad to announce that it has been made possible to add specific graph settings relevant for the Steam Deck with the future patches. Stay tuned," end quote. I'm glad to hear they're adding back options. I did ask Pierre Lou, noted Valve developer, if maybe Valve would add a launch option that would force the playing on Steam Deck flag to false so that we can avoid this situation in the future, but there was no response as of yet. The whole saga gave an air of he a little confused, but he got the spirit, and in this case, I am happy to say that all's well that ends well. You know it's not likely to end well, however, Valve being sued by Immersion over the haptic feedback in the Steam Deck as well as the Valve Index. According to The Verge, Immersion is asking for damages, royalties, and an injunction against Valve from deploying, operating, maintaining, testing, and using the accused handheld instrumentalities and accused VR instrumentalities. Immersion is well known for these suits and have been successful at securing settlements from Sony, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Motorola, and Fitbit. One commenter on The Verge's article even pointed out this fun fact. Immersion is the reason that the PS3 controllers had no rumble until 2008. Sony claimed their motion sensing controller weren't compatible with rumble, but Sony just didn't want to pay Immersion. So yeah, it seems incredibly likely that Valve will settle as well, especially considering the fact that Valve previously lost an unrelated patent infringement lawsuit with regard to the Steam controller that many believe led to Valve discontinuing the Steam controller altogether. If Valve do in fact settle, an added license fee will obviously increase the cost of manufacturing Steam Decks, but we don't know yet if that's going to have any impact on consumers. I'll keep you posted on how this progresses. Here's some news I found interesting. According to PC Gamer, Famitsu did an interview with Jim Ryan, the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. They asked him about PlayStation exclusives, and he said that Sony fully understands the importance of PS5 exclusive titles and that their main responsibility is to have people enjoy the game experience using the latest PlayStation. He added that Sony is committed to increasing the number of PS5 exclusive titles and staggering the release of the PC version, perhaps as much as 2 or 3 years after the release of the PS version is accepted favorably, according to the translated article. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people that expected the gap from PlayStation to PC ports to get shorter and shorter as it has been seemingly getting. I'm not mad at the decision, it seems like it may make business sense, and more importantly, it lets them focus on creating the best PS5 experience first, and then worry about a PC port separately. In any case, I guess I won't be selling my PS5 anytime soon, especially as games like Final Fantasy XVI, Spider-Man 2, and Wolverine are on the horizon. Back on the Steam Deck and Linux side of things, Gaming on Linux reported on some improvements to Lutris. Notably, it includes support for itch.io and Battle.net. I literally have hundreds of games on itch.io thanks to charity bundles. There are some gems in there that are not available on Steam, so this might be good motivation for me to tinker with this some more. Lutris has continued to get better since the release of the Steam Deck, and I'm pretty excited for this new release. The reviews for the ROG Ally have continued in the last week, and my excitement continues to go up and down. Retro Game Core's video on the eGPU solution was extremely informative, but sadly, I think it convinced me to not pick up an XG mobile eGPU, at least not until things get better. The Fox did a nice deep dive into his benchmarking results, especially the 10-watt results. He said that updates have improved results so far, so I am crossing my fingers that we'll see more of that in the next couple weeks leading up to release. Digital Foundry gave an expectedly great and in-depth review. Rich Ledbetter wrapped it up really well, but left me with some concerns that I already had. He said, quote, "I've tested a few Windows handhelds so far, and I kind of love them, but it seems that anytime you want to acquire a portable PC that powers past the Steam Deck convincingly across the board and not just in select titles, you need to ratchet up the power level, which in turn delivers a debilitating hit to battery life. And that's no exception with the ASUS ROG Ally, unfortunately," end quote. But he otherwise had a lot of good things to say about the hardware and ergonomics. Finally, Taki Udon published his review of the Ally, and he said it's a buggy mess, but he loves it anyway. That's actually really promising considering that a lot of people felt the same way about the Steam Deck when we first saw reviews for that. Overall, I'm looking forward to the Ally, but this is the first time since the Steam Deck that I've spent several $100s on a gaming device, and the difference compared to the Steam Deck is that it's actually a lot harder to justify spending this money this time around, so I'm a little anxious about it living up to expectations. Alright, I haven't had a proper new releases segment in a couple of weeks, but there were some really good new releases recently. First up is the Street Fighter 6 Open Beta, which was available over the weekend. Steam Deck HQ actually covered the performance of this in depth. Unfortunately, performance in the open area battle hub does leave quite a bit to be desired. Performance in actual fights isn't bad though. Noah got a locked 60 FPS on the training stage, but it dipped on other stages. Hopefully Capcom can tighten that up before release, since I wouldn't want to see anything below 60 for actual fights. I'm also a big fan of The Wonderful 101, and this game recently received a new free DLC titled The Wonderful One After School Hero Part 1, and it's actually a side-scrolling action platformer. It looks a lot like Mega Man, and it does appear to be quite charming. I haven't had a chance to try this yet, but Wonderful 101 is verified on deck, so I'm looking forward to getting this DLC. Herat left early access last week, and if you don't know, Herat is, well, it's one of the best reviewed boomer shooters on Steam. It's got 98% positive reviews, and it takes place after an unspecified disaster in socialist Czechoslovakia in the year 1986. It's a damn good game, and it plays really well on the deck. It's also on sale for a couple more days. There's a new game called Humanity that released last week, and I haven't played it yet, but I kind of want to try it now that I've read the description. Listen to this. Humanity is a third-person puzzle action game where you become a dog to command massive marching crowds of people to jump, turn, push, float, shoot, and climb their way to salvation across 90 story mode stages. Yes please, it's giving shades of quirky PS2 games like Katamari and Mr. Mosquito. It also gets 94% positive reviews, so I will try it out and let you know what I think. Starship Troopers Extermination released in early access to great praise. It got 93% positive reception with over 6,000 reviews. It's a 16-player co-op FPS that has you expectedly fighting huge alien bugs. Reviews also indicate that it's surprisingly polished for an early access game. Gaming on Linux recently covered deck compatibility, and it does appear to be working well. Funny enough, The Outlast Trials is another online co-op game that released to early access with awesome reception. Just like Starship Troopers, folks are surprised by the polish that this title already has in its early state. Reviews indicate that it's also a good game to experience solo, so don't let the co-op nature scare you away. Vivid Loop is a puzzle game that looks like one of those underrated games on 3DS or Wii U like Crashmo or Box Box Boy. All of the reviews so far are positive. No, I mean literally 100% of the reviews are positive, so I can't wait to give this a shot. There's a demo for this, so it doesn't hurt to at least try that. Shout out to Mosquito who told me about this game in the Fan2Deck Discord. Firmament is the first of two games where the reviews seem to be disappointing so far. Firmament is the latest game by Cyan Worlds, the studio that made Myst and Riven, and while this game is deck verified, reports show that it's buggy, not very well optimized, and quite short. I'm hopeful that some of these issues will be ironed out in a few weeks or months, so I'll keep an eye out for this one. The second game with discouraging user reviews is LEGO 2K Drive. According to all the reviews I've seen, the gameplay itself is fun, but the monetization sours it completely. One review summarizes it concisely, saying the game pushes you to pay actual money to unlock things on top of the $60 base price. Building is held back by bases, so you can't just build anything you want. That is extremely unfortunate, as I was looking forward to this one personally. So last week had a bunch of good releases, but this week looks like it's going to be even better. Tuesday alone literally has 5 games I'm anticipating highly, like Planet of Lana, Miasma Chronicles, and Bolt Gun. Be sure to set those notifications so you don't miss next week's Deck News Roundup to hear more about those games. Deck Gang out. Goodbye!